Do you like to go to places like museums? Do you like to learn about dinosaurs or look at their bones? Perhaps you're even the type that likes to go explore in old buildings or old barns. Or maybe you're even the type that likes to go to ancient places and check them out. While most of us aren't exactly history buffs, we do like to look at things like that. They intrigue us for one reason or another. So if that's true, then most of us would find at least a little bit of enlightenment, and we would be intrigued by something that has been around longer than, say, Jesus or Abraham, right? That brings me to the subject that I want to talk to you about today. My name is Jamie, and today I want to talk to you about the Great Ziggurat at Ur. I'm going to start out by telling you about what a ziggurat is. I'm going to tell you about the historical significance of the ziggurat, and also tell you about a ziggurat that's still standing today, and some of the information about that might actually really intrigue you. So let's start out by talking about what a ziggurat is. So what is a ziggurat? I'd like for you to picture a structure that looks something like the pyramids of Egypt. The pyramids of Egypt are something that we've all seen. A ziggurat is something that many of us probably haven't seen. A ziggurat looks a little bit different. A ziggurat actually is made with levels. Instead of it being straight up in a pyramid shape, it's got several levels. At the very top, you're going to find a temple. These ziggurats were many times made for the gods of the city. They were massive structures, and many times they were set in the very middle of the city. And it was the first thing that visitors would see as they were coming into the city. You would also find shrines, and you would find a lot of tombs around these things. So now that you know what a ziggurat is, you may be wondering where you could find one today. Well, first of all, one of the most famous ziggurats was made in the city of Ur. Just in case if you don't know what the city of Ur is, the city of Ur is where Abraham from the Bible was born. It's also where one of the first Sumerian settlements started. Now, the ziggurat that was originally made in Ur actually outdated Abraham from the Bible. Now, that ziggurat still stands today in Nasiriyah, Iraq. The original structure was 6 stories tall, and it was 300 feet by 300 feet. We've probably seen a lot of things that are much bigger than that today, but that's still pretty massive for that time frame. And once again, it was the only structure that you could see for miles. And according to realhistory.com, the first one was actually made by Ur-Nammu. Ur-Nammu actually didn't live to see the end of it, unfortunately, but fortunately, his son was able to take on the project, and he was able to finish the first one. So now, let's look at what significance this might actually have for us today. Now, first of all, I need to tell you that the significance for me is that I can literally walk outside my door and go on top of my building, and I can see the Great Ziggurat at Ur. Again, I told you, it's in Nasiriyah, Iraq. Because of my deployed location, I'm able to walk outside and I can see this thing anytime that I want to while I'm here. Now, we can't go see it anymore, but we used to be able to go visit it. And fortunately, before they stopped letting us go, I was able to snap a few pictures. So I want to show you this picture that I took very recently of the ziggurat at Ur. As you can see, it's a pretty amazing structure. It's very big. Those levels that I told you about, this is the first level. That's only the first one. And you can see the starting point to a second one. Imagine 7 of those. That's what the first one actually looks like. And you can see, too, a lot of the remnants of the city of Ur and a lot of tombs also that are around it. So now that you've seen what it looks like today, I need to give you another tidbit of information that may actually really intrigue you. Have you heard of the Tower of Babel? I'm sure that you have, and if you haven't, please look it up because it's a really interesting story. Well, the first time that the ziggurat at Ur was remodeled, it was remodeled by King Nabonidus. King Nabonidus wanted to make an amazing structure that would be famous for years to come. In fact, he wanted it to be so amazing that it is thought that his additions actually inspired the myth of the Tower of Babel. That's pretty interesting to me. I didn't know that until I wanted to tell a speech to you guys about this, but to me, that is one of the most amazing facts that I've ever found about anything that I've had the pleasure to see. So since we are some of the last Americans to actually see the structure, I wanted to be able to share it with you as well. So, as we know, there's a lot of things in history that don't really appeal to us. We don't have a real connection to them. But I hope that I've been able to take some facts and give it to you today so that you can actually connect with the Great Ziggurat at Ur. I hope that you enjoyed the picture that I showed you, and I hope that I've given you some information so that you come out of this knowing a little bit more about this ziggurat. I want to thank you so much for your time today, and have a great day.